characters of the novel by Ilfin Petrov Golden Calf, calling themselves children of Lieutenant Schmidt, are well known to each and everybody. I am a son of Lieutenant Schmidt. I need as little as 50 rubles. For the actions of swindlers who try to maximize benefits under the guise of decent and respected persons have always been one and the same. Speculating on the topics being important and congenial to people, these actors normally pursue very trivial things, drive for the power and profit. I am an ideological fighter for banknotes. At present, there are 3 church institutions in Ukraine that are actually engaged in an interspecies competition for the right to be considered state church. They are Kiev Patriarchate, Greek Catholic and autocephalous churches. When a politician tries to speak on spiritual matters with his electorate, it usually seems suspicious. But when the people who call themselves church hierarchs talk to their parishioners using political slogans, it is at least surprising. The role of the church in the first line is to help the army. Europe should feel its responsibility for Ukraine, to destroy the aggressor in the bud. Our aggressor, Russia, is waging war against Ukraine and Ukrainian nation. Ukraine will exist forever. We'll bury those who are still looking into the direction of Russia, like we've already buried many of them. Ukraine is the only one among all nuclear states to have sold nuclear weapons, though it used to rank 3rd. As we can see, hierarchs make use of the whole range of political terminology in order to prove the country's government that namely their structure is worthy of being #1 church in Ukraine. Yet there is just one state church vacancy with 3 applicants, all being ultra-patriotic. What's the way out? That's simple. To reach a goal, one should please power holders with sweet words. The most reliable way is to repeat what the president has said. For example, Mr. Poroshenko has a favorite remark. He believes Ukraine defends Europe. It is we, Ukrainians, who defend Europe. Let's now listen to Patriarch Philaret and try to find out the difference. Europe and America have to know we defend not only Ukraine, we defend them. When being in public, and especially in the face of the power, all the above denominations feel affection toward each other and show readiness to fulfill the president's will at once and unite to become one church. Ukrainian power has a common aspiration and desire to have a single church. It is not once that the Kiev Patriarchate has striven to unite with its autocephalous counterparts, but every time there was some disagreement between them, the autocephalous primate gave the following description of one of such attempts made last year. All the UOC-KP commission stood up with the green and left. Why? Because we did not agree to the terms they insisted on. Spokesman of the Kiev Patriarchate Eustrati has a different opinion on this matter. There is no point conducting negotiations with the UOC, since they failed to comply with the earlier agreements. To make matters worse, it's happened for the 5th time in more than 20 years. What is it painfully reminiscent of? You are a miserable and negligible quantity, and you are crippled. I'm a boss here. Who's the boss? Me. Well, the autocephalous church, due to its fewness, is not really a rival for the Kiev Patriarchate. Therefore, it's not necessary to stand on ceremony with them, and the UOC-KP doesn't then. At the end of August, the administration of the Kiev Patriarchate blew the mind and the roof of the UOC. It happened literally. The roofing was taken off the building occupied at one time by the denominations of the autocephalous church and that of the Kiev Patriarchate. As a result, lodgings of the autocephalous church were flooded with a heavy rainfall. But it was a trifle. A month before this incident, Philaret wrote a letter to the Ministry of Culture in which he said the Kiev Patriarchate had claimed claims for the main temple of autocephalous confession, St. Andrew Church. Vesti outlet writes the following: the Kiev Patriarchate is all over with the autocephalous church as a partner. Instead, it has set the course towards blackmailing and tough pressure, aimed at arm twisting to make the latter yield to take over. For this reason, the autocephalous are positioned as marginal. As for Ukrainian Catholics and Uniates, the Kiev Patriarchate is pointedly on good terms with them before the authorities. They are ready to agree to even non-standard alliances. For instance, on June 21st, the Kiev Patriarchate, in the person of its spokesman Eustrati Zara, boosted the statement of Greek Catholic chief Sviatoslav Shevchuk on invitation of Pope Francis to Ukraine. I request you to send my invitation to Pope Francis to come to Ukraine. I believe all Ukrainian Church Council, as well as Ukrainian believers, join my invitation. Archbishop Eustrati Zara said Ukraine and Catholic Church have common challenges, since Ukraine is an indispensable part of Europe, and told he was ready to visit the apostolic capital on such occasion. It's hard to say how much sincere such complaisance is, due to the fact the Roman pontiff had been invited to Ukraine by the person whose favor is sought by each of the denominations mentioned, that is, President Poroshenko personally. Today, the Pope Francis I was sent an invitation from the President to visit Ukraine. However, all these friendly gestures do not mean in the slightest the UOC-KP is going to transfer their palm of victory to its competitors. In another letter to the Minister of Culture, Filaret states that Greek Catholic Primate also claims to hold services in St. Sophia Church, recently granted to the KP, yet the Patriarch of Kiev and all Ukraine abhorred any encroachments of his vis-a-vis, threatening with claims for St. Hierarch Cathedral in Lvov that is owned by the Greek Catholic Church. Now it's clear you do not love me. It was followed by quite a radical statement of the UOC-KP representative Sergei Dmitriev, dedicated to the words of the Pope's nuncio Claudia Gugerotti, on that Ukraine is a country to have aggravated the relationships between the US and Europe. To speak of Ukraine today means to speak of one's own failures. It's inappropriate for a visiting foreigner to give any comments. Moreover, it's offensive for Ukrainians. As we can see, all religious structures who call themselves patriotic, though they demonstrate unanimity, try to deal a blow to each other in an underhanded way. At the same time, they all crave for one local church. When will a single local Ukrainian church be created in Ukraine finally? Soon, when God lets it happen. There should be a single local Orthodox Church in Ukraine. Will it ever be so? Yes, it will. How can they enter into the family of Orthodox churches if, even using political stamps alone and enjoying common ideological nationalistic values, they keep on fighting desperately with one another? What are you, I ask you? And you? Anyway, the Kiev Patriarchate seems to have quit an idea of creating a local church. What for, if they have already made a self-designation as a single local church? It is said in particular in paragraph 9 of the statement of their Bishop Council. The Ukrainian Orthodox Church of Kiev Patriarchate deems and defines itself as an authentic, canonical, fully valued local Orthodox Church in Ukraine, besides certificates of appreciation, where the KP is called as a local Ukrainian Orthodox Church, have been handed out by this institution for many years. At first, only high-rank persons were awarded with these certificates, like it was in 2009 with Alexei Gnibok, Uniat and head of Freedom Party. Then they got distributed in batches like ads on the subway. In 2014, postgraduate students alone of the Animal Anatomy Chair of the Bioresource University received dozens of them, all for their merits before the local Orthodox Church. And finally, about recognition. The Kiev Patriarchate is unable to decide if they need to be considered as a church, rather than fake robes, within the ecumenical orthodoxy, or they are comfortable to be recognized solely by the Ukrainian secular authorities. Filaret and his adherents change their opinion on that matter every few years. In 2009, he declared that Kiev Patriarchate had no need of Constantinople, and the main goal of his structure is not at all the recognition by Orthodox community. We realize we are a local church, autocephalous and independent, and we have everything. In spring of the current year, the Bishop Council of this institution stated somewhat absolutely opposite. The Kiev Patriarchate recognizes only the Constantinople Patriarchate as its mother church and expects it to recognize a historically accomplished and canonically stipulated fact of the UOC autocephaly. But wait, there is more. The other day, Vicar of Volyn Diocese of the Kiev Patriarchate, Bishop of Vladimir Volyn Matthew, refuted the statement of the Bishop Council and declared the Church of Constantinople is not a mother to the UOC-KP. There are the Greek who manipulate and say, we are a mother church. Not really, for the mother church would never abandon her children for 300 gold pieces and Zibelline furs. The Greek church did, and now they say, we are a mother church. Their mother, as it appeared, is the Ukrainian land. No, our land is our mother. No ovations, please. Well, the UOC-KP bishop just voiced what was evident from the very beginning of its activity. To be specific, the Kiev Patriarchate is not what they claim to be, for their work is confined to worship of the Ukrainian land, Ukrainian nation, its symbols and attributes, beatifying its warriors and being at beck and call of the state constitute an ideology of pagan rather than Christian organization. The Kiev Patriarchate speaks about it without any scruples. One should believe we will win. It's over. This is curtain. Curtain is down.